Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. Today we are starting our Stories Hosts, our very first in the month of May. I hope you've all had a lovely bank holiday weekend. So we have today the most amazing lady that I have met and had the joy of working with from Positive Luxury. We have Belen Satorre, who is joining us from Positive Luxury, and she is going to talk to all of us all about the world of sustainability. So we're just going to wait for Belen to join us. Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. You're very welcome. Happy May. I hope you all had a lovely bank holiday weekend. It feels like a Monday. I keep going to say happy Monday, but it's happy Tuesday. Hi Belen, I see she's here. So if you want to just request to join. Guys, you're all very welcome. How are we all?
Hi, Tonya.
Hi, Belen. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, no, you're very, very welcome. Gosh, can you believe we're in May already?
I believe it, especially with the weather. It feels like we are in February.
I know, it's absolutely, did you have a nice bank holiday weekend? Were you off yesterday?
Yeah, it was very nice just to spend the weekend like walking the dog and having and going for brunches in London, which is always a good plan.
Oh God, it's just so lovely to have that shorter week, isn't it? To kick off May. So I'm going to do a little intro to you, and I hope I do it justice. But then I want you to introduce to everybody who's joining us a little bit about yourself. So Belen is the Client Services Director at Positive Luxury, helping organizations to undertake an environmental, social and governance assessment to manage risk, embed innovation and credibly foster consumer trust. You are originally from Spain. You lived in, oh my goodness, so impressive, United States, Ecuador, Mexico, Costa Rica, and you're currently in the UK. You've worked in several international development, communications, and sustainability roles. But what I love about you is you believe that companies should invest in the long-term well-being of the planet, and people, when multiplied by many, can transform the world. It's absolutely incredible. So everything about you, Belen, since I have met you, you know, when you came across to our breakfast, our founders breakfast, and women in business, and I just got to know you and to look at your background, your education, your job experience, your heart in sustainability is just incredible. So I just wanted to bring you on because obviously stories is the core of the stories is all about sustainability. And I wanted to hear your story and your journey into this world of sustainability. So first of all, you're from Spain originally. You're now living in London. Tell me a little bit about how you got from Spain to here.
Yeah, actually, probably studying journalism in Madrid. And then I got an opportunity to work with the Spanish Agency for International Cooperation. So I moved to Ecuador and Mexico. We were conducting a research project on human security. And after that, I was finishing my studies in United States. And I got my first kind of job there. Really enjoy it, and I always wanted to work in international development. So actually all my sustainability background is starting from the international development angle. And I heard about the United Nations University for Peace, where I took a first master, and I had the opportunity to work with 2 United Nations agencies. And after that, living in Costa Rica is when I moved back to the UK to continue my studies, and then is when it actually started my career in sustainability, working across finance, retail, technology, and now here at Positive Luxury.
Yeah, so I will go into your role in Positive Luxury shortly, but just really looking at your education, it is incredible that you hold a Master of Science in International Migration and Public policy, a master's in responsible management and sustainable economic development, and you've a first-class degree in journalism. That is, congratulations. It is impressive, your study. But what was the particular reason for you to go down this route of education and then begin to working in the ESG industry?
Yeah, actually, it all started kind of by chance. Something that I always love is about communicating, transparency, and and being curious about everything and anything. So that's why I decided to go into the route of journalism. And once I was in the career, I kind of discovered like corporate responsibility. That is what sustainability was called a couple of years ago. And I really got into it of how the power of communications can actually better promote transparency and build that trust back to the consumers. So it started kind of in my mind and say, there's something else that we can do well. And sustainability was not something that you heard probably 15 years ago. It was really associated to more of a philanthropistic approach. So yeah, that's why I decided kind of to gain more knowledge in this area and went to Costa Rica to study responsible management. That it was a CSR really and sustainability degree. And then it's when I found out actually it's not only about the economic impact, it's also about what can you do from the government perspective, what are the actions, the policies that it needs to be taken in place. That is actually what is pushing most of the companies to take forward actions. Then is when I decided, okay, let's complement this with a governance degree, just to have all the foundations on how sustainability is actually looked at.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible because you are still so young and you have had such this incredible experience and background, and you've ended up in Positive Luxury where we have met you, and it's just an incredible journey. It's something really important to us as a brand, but as you know, we're a small brand, we're an independently financed brand, but sustainability is at the core of everything we do, but we want to make things so much more better for our brand. And thankfully, we have met you guys on this journey as we are replenishing and creating new product development. So for those of people that are joining us today, tell us a little bit about Positive Luxury and your role.
Well, my role, I'm the Sustainability Client Services Director. That means that I have actually the honor to work with very exciting brands across verticals like fashion and accessories, beauty and fragrance, premium drinks, travel and living. So it's there's not a day that it looks the same, but actually what we do here at Positive Luxury, we conduct environmental, social and governance plus innovation assessment. That is the only assessment and certification program designed specifically for the global luxury industry. If we really examine the performance across these 4 pillars, the ESG and 29 key drivers, really to provide that specific framework to brands, for brands to actually to get them ahead of the curve and prepare them to face all the challenges or mitigate risks that inevitably happen when you are working in a global connected society as we do now.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the butterfly mark. So a lot of us who go shopping into the fashion stores and beauty will see this fabulous little butterfly, what do you call it, a watermark, isn't that correct? I couldn't. So basically, what does that mean? If you see somebody with a butterfly mark, what is that?
Actually, all the companies that have been certified with the butterfly mark, they have undergone a massive business transformation, and they are armed with powerful independent evidence to actually validate the impact that they are giving back to their communities, their impact on the environment, and also their governance, how they are managed, not only their company, but also how they are facing the external reporting to their stakeholders. So we really validate companies where they can clearly communicate with transparency to build all these stakeholders most valued currencies, that is the trust. And everything that we do really is to future-proof their business and to actually make sure that they get ahead of the curve of all the new legislations, voluntary schemes that we see they are actually coming from soft legislation into hard legislation. So any brand that actually goes through this assessment, they will be prepared to everything that is coming on the sustainability and get ahead of time.
Yeah, and it is a rigorous process, but you know, that's comforting as well, because when you go through it, even though for a small brand like my own, you know, we have had the fabulous yourself and some other colleagues that have worked with us, and that's the goodness about that, because you're not left on your own to go through this rigorous process. But what's really comforting is when you see that butterfly mark on products and on fashion labels, it has gone through a rigorous process, and there has to be proof that the whole sustainability line has actually come into standard. So that is really, you know, I love that, even though it is, you know, some of the questions that we go through, it's like, oh my goodness, we have to build policy on every angle, which is really good for us as for startup brands who can actually begin policies and have the advice from you guys in Positive Luxury to go on this journey. So if you were to talk to a startup brand today and say to them, you know, come on this journey, what would be the benefit of that for them to do so, and how would you support them?
Well, definitely my first advice will be don't get overwhelmed. I know the assessment particularly is very systematic and rigorous, but actually the big benefit to really put sustainability at the heart of any company's operation, especially when they are those micro businesses, is that it's easier to change their operations and embed in sustainability practice when you are still a micro business rather than when you are growing and then you operate like in different countries. You have moved from 4 to 5 suppliers to 1,000 plus. It's definitely easier to make the changes when you are starting from when you are in a pre-launch state or 1 or 3 years straight, rather than when you are working for or established brand from 10 years that actually want to start their sustainability journey. But it's never too late.
Yes.
It's never too late. That will be my main message back to all brands. Sustainability is here to stay. This is just it's not that it's just starting. The future is the present, and definitely all brands, they need to look at their operations, at the way that they produce the look at their supply chains, and actually see how they can make the biggest impact. In terms of the support, definitely all brands that comes to Positive Luxury, they get assigned an account manager that they take them through the process. They answer these questions. We do a kick-off call meeting with a particular brand. We show them what are the milestones. We provide them with additional support in terms of supporting documents, guidelines, so they don't have to start everything from the scratch. We never lie that this is definitely an onerous process, and it takes time from the brands to implement the changes, but everything that I will say is worth in life. It requires effort, and at the end, the benefit is like you are not only prepared from the legislation perspective, but also from the consumer perspective, which is actually demanding from brands to have a stronger sustainability performance.
Yeah, and one of the things I love, I had recently read a quote from yourself when you were talking about the Positive Luxury Startup Accelerator Program, and you wrote, sustainability is more than just a moral imperative, it's a competitive advantage. And that's pretty much what you're saying. It's here to stay. And actually, if you go through that process, you know, now and really adapt that sustainability, that's really going to be positive. So in terms of that, the Accelerator Program, tell me a little bit about that. Is that something that's new, or is that something that you've always had?
Actually, this is a quite new, exciting initiative at Positive Luxury. We started with our first batch last quarter. So every quarter we have 6 new startups that they want to embed sustainability at the heart of operations. They need to submit an application form yes, and then it goes through a review process with a committee where we actually look at their business plan, or what they have already achieved in sustainability, what are their business objectives, and we really have come up with an amazing 6 new brands from across fashion, accessories, living, and beauty. We will take them again through the assessment within the first year. Also, they get a waiver, so for the first year they don't need to pay any fees, and they have the opportunity just to focus on sustainability and to embed those changes, and then the rest it follows.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And again, going back to you know, stories being such a small brand, it just being able to have somebody go on this journey with you, because I know in our own journey before we met you guys at Positive Luxury, you know, we tried to go down, you know, to make sure everybody was sustainable and everybody had the same policy as us. But we came under a lot of problems, because we find that not, even though some people say they're sustainable, you ask for their policy, then you realize, oh my gosh, there's no policy in place. And then you have to go digging and digging. And it's really hard to make sure that we have the whole sustainability chain and the supply chain all sitting in the same, you know, the same ethos as ourselves. So I think it's amazing that you guys are offering this to startup brands to come in. And I know there's a lot of people, you know, in my own network of people are still young brands and have spoke about sustainability being something that they really want, but then you can't, sustainability becomes known as it's unaffordable, and it's really trying to be able to get the supply chain to become more affordable for startup brands who are creating really you know, minimum order quantities. So it's amazing that you guys are going on this journey, and that you see that it's so important for startup brands to have this. Sorry, my phone started to ring. Cut off a little bit. So I think it's amazing that you guys are doing this acceleration program as well. So a little bit more about you and your amazing your career to date. Have you any accomplishments? You've worked with some of the most amazing companies before you started with Positive Luxury. You set up Be Collective's first office in Europe. You also led Amnesty International strategy and work, delivering global human rights and campaigns. So you've had a lot of experience. Is there anything that you would like to share with us today in terms of your accomplishments that you're really proud of to date in your career?
Yeah, probably I would say bringing the first Be Collective office from Australia, New Zealand, and open the first office here in Europe, here in London. Probably that has been my biggest achievement, as I never thought about myself to have that entrepreneurship spirit like yourself, Tonya, which I really admire. You have created your own brand, have created like these beautiful perfumes and scents. But really, that was an opportunity that came across just to expand a tech for good company that operated in Asia Pacific, and to build their first office here in UK. So it was really from, I was there for almost 3 years, really looking at their operations, registering the company in the company's house, looking at how to build the team, hiring the team, building the processes across business development, implementation, account management, getting those first clients, and also the brand awareness. So it was really a 360 role that I never thought I could actually do, because I never thought myself with that entrepreneurship spirit. But then we got it into a good place, and now it's operating in the UK for the past 3 years, which is fantastic.
Amazing. Congratulations. That is such an achievement, and well done to be able to do that. So I suppose any people that are watching today and will come onto our live later to watch might want to know who is standing out for you at the moment in terms of sustainability? You know, whether it's fashion, beauty, accessories. Is there somebody that you guys would use as a case study, or somebody on a more personal level that you would say, right, go and have a look at that brand because look what they're doing? You know, and is there anybody there that you can sort of say to us, they're brilliant, let's have a look at them?
Actually, it's a difficult question to answer because
Yeah.
at the moment we have 161 clients across 29 countries, and really every brand that we have certified, it has really gone through a huge an assessment and overview of their operations to actually embed sustainability at the heart and at every decision that they do. There's not such a thing, something that I would say as the perfect brand that you need to look. Every brand is stronger in some area or others. But I have recently, for instance, worked very closely with a kids retailer like Le Petit Planet, which is doing amazing things in terms of sustainability. Also, we just recently certified Cariuma, that is a train sneakers brand from Brazil, and they really deliver everything that they do from their packaging to how to how their commitments towards the rainforest, to rebuild the rainforest. It's really fantastic. So I couldn't say like one brand.
Yes.
I would say go to Positive website on our member zone.
And I thought that would be your answer, because you see so many amazing brands. But one of the things is, I suppose, is when we were talking about not being daunted about this rigorous process, one thing that I have found really interesting on my journey is it's just start small, start somewhere. You don't have to, even though we love to look at the brands that are doing it right and we want to look at their model and we want to see how great they are. But actually what we want to do is be able to go, okay, just look at one part of your business and start somewhere. Would you agree with that?
Entirely. Definitely, I would say, especially for smaller brands, to look into 29 different key drivers, from logistics, carbon, climate, biodiversity, community, SDGs. You could seem like really a daunting task to move ahead. But all brands need to start to something. So yes, I will always recommend, okay, let's start what is our impact on environment, how we can better manage our energy uses, water, waste. Let's look into our supply chains. Let's have a clear visibility of who are we working. Let's have the right policies in place, not only for our employees, but also for our stakeholders in case we receive any questions. So just having that transparency and that visibility, and also be brave. Don't be brave to communicate where you are in the journey. Most of I will say, most of brands, they are always more timid or shy just to say where they are. And actually something that consumers, I believe, or as a consumer, that they always appreciate is like that honesty of saying, we are not perfect. This is where we are in the process. This is what we would like to commit in the following years, and we will keep you posted. So I think that honesty is what it resonates back to consumers.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've had to do that ourselves. When we launched at the beginning, even though sustainability was so important to me, I didn't have the knowledge and I didn't have the, that expertise at the time to look at the supply chain, etc. But it's not just about the supply chain, it's about the environment, it's about everything down to your office and, the water, everything, waste. So it is a really, it's great to be able to look at a project, because we were able to look at our perfume packaging to start with. And then we know that we have to look at other areas, but it's fabulous that we're now on this journey. And it's, we can say, and consumers understand if you just go, well, I've been able to look at this stage, but our promise is we were going to look at that in the next few years, or, by a certain date, we have this target. So no, I think that's brilliant. And thank you for that advice. Just going back to your quote that I said earlier, sustainability is more than just a moral imperative, it's competitive advantage. What do you mean about that?
Well, it's definitely a competitive advantage because if you don't actually mitigate the risk that they might come in this interconnected global society, they will, or do you not actually pay attention to all the legislations that are coming, for instance, to become net zero, or to look on how you can actually offset your carbon emissions, or look at the responsibility that you have towards your employees. Maybe you don't have a challenge now, you don't face a problem at the moment, but in the future that might come. So if you have that framework with the right policies in place, with the right due diligence in place, that will actually help you, to future-proof your business moving forward. So it's always a competitive advantage, not only on the way that you are actually saving cost and being a more sustainable brand, but in the way that you actually are going to be perceived from consumers, from external stakeholders, from investors, because you will have less risk for
Yeah.
other stakeholders to actually invest, or to actually to buy from your products that they are more sustainable.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's really, really interesting. And so a little bit, we love to end up our session with doing some quick fire questions. So I have some I would like to just fire at you. So now with you, I have so many questions for you, Belen, that they're maybe not so quick fire. What change would you like to see within the luxury industry?
Well, I think I mentioned it before, the transparency in the way that luxury brands communicate where they are in the sustainability journey. My message will be like, be brave, try to be brave and honest, say where you are in the journey. No one, I think, is going to negatively impacted or going to be negatively impacted by it. Actually, it's going to be rewarded to say, okay, this is finally like an honest brand that is actually telling, okay, we are not perfect, we are looking at the way that we're doing our packaging, or we are phasing out plastics at the moment. Just keep your consumers and your stakeholders up to date on where they are.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So we absolutely, in our office, love your fashion. We absolutely, we're going through your Instagram page and we love your fashion. It's just amazing. So we want to know, what is your most favorite, well, we don't need to say sustainable fashion brand, but I am sure that you look to your fashion as sustainable brands as well. But a fashion brand, what is your style? And what would your fashion brand be?
I don't know. I try to use mainly Spanish brands, because that's probably where I'm from. But it really depends. Yes, I would say like more business casual. I will agree. And then I love nature, love hiking. So there's always like great sustainable brands. For nature and sports, like Patagonia being one of them, where they use like most like 80% of their clothing lines already recyclable. So that will be a brand that I personally have always looked at what they doing, because it's one of the first brands that they start that I have always looked to what they are doing in their sustainability journey.
Yeah, okay. And we will we'll put some of these on when we post this later, so people can have a look. So you mentioned a little bit about loving hiking, etc. So how do you like to unwind?
What do you mean, like, for instance?
Yes. So how do you like to leave work for the day, and what makes you relax, or what do you enjoy? What are your hobbies?
Yeah, definitely. Well, hiking and nature being one of them. As I'm originally from Spain, from Alcoy, it's a small town in the middle of the mountains, so I was always very close to nature. But here in London, it's a little bit more difficult to actually go on a hike. So just going runnings and practicing yoga, or just walking around this beautiful city, listening to a podcast is always a good way to unwind and relax.
Yeah, yeah. So favorite holiday, is it relaxing or exploring?
A little bit of both, I think. I cannot do a really relaxing holiday. I'm quite an active person, so I will always include something like some adventure activities. And probably my favorite holiday will be definitely somewhere in Latin America, Mexico. I've been there many, many times. So if someone is looking for tips, let me know.
You're the person to ask, absolutely. Okay, so I am in love with your Spanglish multiple. So is it a she or a he?
Yeah, it's a small puppy called Theo.
So he is absolutely gorgeous. And my question was, what was your favorite animal? But we do know that it must be your beautiful dog, Theo.
Yeah, I must admit that I love dogs in general. But any kind of dog is always my favorite. But
Yeah.
probably I'm a bit biased towards mine.
Well, he's so cute. Very, very beautiful. What's your favorite fitness?
Uh, Fitness, I mean, in terms of exercise, I would say running. I'm actually now preparing for the Amsterdam Marathon, and I have done a
Wow.
couple more. So always running, but it's a learning process. It's not just.
Congratulations. That's good. To be able to do that. You've done some marathons in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done New York, London, Varsovia a couple of years ago. Again, it's something that I thought, oh, I will never gonna be able to run a marathon. And if at the end, it's all about the work that you put in every day. And as we were mentioning before, like, about sustainability, you need to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and then great things that you thought you could.
Yeah. And your best beauty brand. What's your go-to beauty brand makeup?
Oh, I would say difficult, difficult questions when we're working with many beauty brands. But we just recently certified Wild Beauty. That is a Wales brand that they use biomimicry. So definitely is one actually that I will encourage everyone to look at.
Oh, brilliant. I'm going to have a look at that myself. And lastly, I would love to ask you, we ask all our guests about your scent story. And we all know there's a certain scent that we could walk into a room or go somewhere and we just smell it and we're taken back to that place or that person. And I just wanted to know, is there any particular scent memory that you would like to share with us or a scent story?
Yeah, definitely I will say a citrus scent is kind of takes me back to the summers back in Denia. That is where I spent. It's a small town next to between Alicante and Valencia in Spain. I always remember like my mom making like very like natural orange juices in the morning for myself and all my cousins. And that sense, it always takes me back to that moment of my childhood where we spent all summers back in Denia on the beach, just having that citrus scent. So it's always it's quite
Beautiful.
hot every time I I
Yeah.
smell it.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds absolutely lovely. So Belen, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on Stories Hosts. You have been amazing, and I am sure that people that are watching have lots of questions to ask you. So we are going to post this onto our grid. And if anybody's any questions that you would like to ask Belen, please ask, because I know I've more questions, but time is keeping us back from asking some more. But if anybody is wanting to ask advice on sustainability, about just even starting this journey with positive luxury, I'm sure Belen would love to answer any of your questions that you may have. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. And Belen, thank you again. And I will be seeing you very soon, I am sure. But thank you for joining us today and sharing your story. And just all the best for the future and everything that you do with positive luxury and your marathon training, etc. as well.
No, thanks again, Tonya, for having me. And yeah, I'm sure we will keep talking very, very soon.
We will. You take care. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.